On the 26th of June 1984, police responded to a call of shots being fired in the area of Palm Avenue and Lincoln Boulevard in Fort Myers, Florida. When they arrived, they found 31-year-old Claretha Gibbs suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Evidence was collected from the crime scene, including a rag with the suspect's DNA on it. However, DNA testing was uncommon back in 1984. People were interviewed, and an ambulance took her to the hospital, where she succumbed to the injuries. Witnesses said that Gibbs, who was known as a hooker, was last seen entering a brown pickup truck just before hearing a gunshot. The driver then dumped her body at 2831 Lincoln Boulevard before fleeing the scene. He was described as a white male, in his 30s, with brown or dark blonde hair, a thin build, approximately 5 foot 10 inches tall, with a pale complexion. Despite an extensive investigation at the time, the leads went nowhere and the case went cold. In January of 2017, the case was revisited with fresh eyes. The Fort Myers Police Department's Cold Case Unit detectives submitted the DNA evidence to the crime lab for DNA analysis. A full DNA profile of the suspect was obtained and entered into the CODIS DNA database, but no matches were found. In March of 2019, investigators partnered with the DNA technology company Parabon, where they were able to develop a snapshot profile of what the suspect might look like. On the 22nd of July 2020, by using genetic genealogy and visiting publicly available ancestry websites, the authorities were able to create family trees and narrow their search to 65-year-old Okeechobee, Florida resident James Glenn Drinnon as the suspect. Upon further investigation, they discovered that during the time of the attack, he lived locally. On the 27th of July 2020, investigators began monitoring Drinnon's movements. They secretly went through his discarded rubbish and obtained a sample of his DNA. The sample was then on-forwarded to the crime lab. The results came back as a match to the DNA collected from the crime scene. On the 13th of January 2021, the authorities made contact with Drinnon at his home, and he provided a statement admitting to the shooting and taking Gibbs' life. Drinnon, who works as an area mechanic, said Gibbs was a street worker and picked her up looking for some action. He said she pulled out a gun on him to rob him. They had a scuffle over the weapon, and Gibbs was accidentally shot. Drinnon said he fled the scene and threw the gun out of the window of the truck. On the 18th of January 2021, Fort Myers police announced that Drinnon had passed away at his home. There was no information provided by the authorities as to whether he passed away naturally or if he took his own life. His confession was enough for the investigators to close the case. Fort Myers Chief of Police Derek Diggs said, "This case is an excellent example of good old-fashioned police work, combined with the advancements of technology to solve unsolved cases and bring justice for their families.